Hello everybody, it's the 12th of September. We're going to do a quick garden update as it has been quite a while and now we're heading into spring. There's obviously going to be a lot happening. Let's get started. Over in the strawberry corner, we've got these guys finally starting to come back. I'm going to move these into the main bed, which I think I did cover in a previous video. So all these succulents and the oregano over here are going to be moved along with the grass thing that's over there. I can't remember what the name of that is, and that'll all be strawberries over there. That's sort of not a top tier kind of project for the garden, but it is up there and we'll get to that soon. This is the, I guess now known as the saffron corner, where I've got all those black pots up the back and that little greeny grey one to the side. These all had saffron, and I think I did mention in the last video back in autumn that they did okay, but not all of them actually flowered. So it's a bit of a bummer, but that's all right. They'll keep on keeping on. I'm going to have to cover them up because, as you can just see here, the birds are actually digging into these pots quite a bit, which is very frustrating. I hate starlings. Hashtag hate starlings. So that's how the saffron is going. Over here in the veggie pod, I actually just completely left this to its own devices. So this has just kind of been, I kind of threw random seeds in here. And as you can see, we got spinach, we got lettuce, and there's even like a potato. I don't know how that got in there. So this one's just been doing its own thing. Meanwhile, across to the side over here, next to the beautiful eucalyptus cassia, we actually have raspberries. So I planted these last year back in spring, I think it was, and they are now starting to come back. They're growing quite quickly. As you can see, they're really leafing up, and we'll see how they go. Hopefully climbing up against this fence here, and then we'll have some raspberries. We had a whole bunch of projects going on out the back, along with things such as the grass, which I've covered in previous episodes, but now we've also removed the chicken coop, which was over in this spot over here. So we demolished it, got rid of it in a skip just recently, and eventually that sort of area, we'll deconstruct the shed or something like that, and actually convert it into a larger sort of area with hopefully a greenhouse, a sort of combined greenhouse and shed, but I've got to figure that out. That's going to be a lot of work. Also discussed in previous videos, we had a deck that went along this area here and then all the way over to the end up there, which I've now removed completely. So this deck is all gone. In terms of what we'll do here, as you can see, I've just sort of laid out a piece of wood there, but this will be the potatoes. So I'm actually going to be working on tilling this soil here. It's extremely crappy kind of soil, so I'm getting some compost, some good quality compost in, and we'll sort of refurbish this bed. You can see these footings here. So these footings, there's also another one sort of just across in the center of screen there. These footings are really difficult to get out. They're quite deep. So I'm actually going to leave them there. This is just going to be a little path. So we'll make a little path that goes across up to there so you can get into the back side of these beds, because they are quite deep beds. So yeah, we'll dig all this up, get some compost in, and then put potatoes all through this area. So that's going to happen very soon. That is actually one of the top priorities for the garden at the moment. Meanwhile, for the rest of the area where the deck was, actually just going to leave it. We'll probably get some more tan bark in, cover this all up, and that'll be it. I might move things like pots or something in here. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Meanwhile, the actual bed across against the fence is something which is also reasonably high priority. Going to get rid of all this grass and all these weeds, and also this apple tree here. And what we'll do is I'll put some climbing material against the fence, and then this will be my tomato area for the summer, because this is a south facing fence, so we get a lot of sun throughout the whole day on this area. One of the other things you'll see here is the little orange there and a little lemon there. they're going to stay there. I'm pretty happy with those, so I'll just keep them there and have the tomatoes growing alongside them, which I think will be quite nice. And then just at the end, I've got an idea to sort of turn this into a little banana area. So I'll probably fill all this corner up with some soil, and then we'll plant the banana down into the ground, maybe grab it a couple of friends and plant them in here. One thing I did do with the banana, which was a bit of a whoopsie, was I accidentally, see if I can focus, I actually cut the core, like the tip, the actual growing sort of area. I'll use a lot of words. Hopefully you get what I mean. As I was sort of trimming off the old dead leaves and accidentally sort of cut the tip, but it looks as if it's actually okay. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, this will be a little banana grove at the back of the house for something a bit fun. I doubt they'll ever fruit, but it should be quite cool because they'll look a little different. Main garden beds have been really, really interesting. They actually did nothing until about the start of August, I want to say. So we had basically everything you see here was not this large prior to the start of August. We had a little bit of a heat burst for this area, a heat burst, and then everything just shot up. So you can see I've got spring onions that went nuts. We've got volunteer lettuce. The leeks finally starting to grow. I doubt they're going to get to the real size you want them to be, but it is what it is. And then there's other things such as all the brassicas finally started to show up. Not every one of them is actually going to head and actually do something, but we've got a cauliflower here. There's a few broccoli interspersed around here. The fennel did fantastic, as you can see, along with the kale and the odd broccoli. There we go, there's one. And yeah, so all this area did reasonably well eventually. As you can see, I had a broccoli last night for dinner, and then there are the odd few who went straight to seed, like no questions asked, just bang, straight to seed, and off they go. I actually think some of them might have been Brussels sprouts that just didn't want to head themselves either. And of course then there's the spinach. This is giant spinach. As you can see, it's about the size of my hand, which is pretty awesome. Get a lot of eating out of all of these, and we are actually eating these. They've gone absolutely crazy. So that was quite awesome to have a whole bunch of spinach. And so that's the main beds. Of course, there's some flowers that have come up from the brassicas, which is nice and helpful for the bees. And yeah, the odd one that was this is a purple broccoli, but it kind of went a little bit weird and sort of semi-flowered. So I've kind of left that, and I'm like, whatever. And then some volunteer lettuce on the ground as well, which was kind of hilarious. But anyway, we've also got all the parsley. This is the flat leaf or continental parsley, which went absolutely berserk. So this whole area is covered in this flat leaf parsley. Got our chives, which have come back nicely, along with some catnip, which survived the winter. And then also the chamomile. I'm very happy the chamomile's come back as well, so that's pretty cool. And one of my dark horse favorites of the garden is this pineapple sage, which I've used a little bit in cooking, and it's starting to come back now, which is awesome. Finally, we have our garlic patch, which to this sort of left side is more elephant garlic. So they should be pretty big boys once they're all done. And then we've got more normal garlic to the right-hand side. So these aren't, there's no scapes as of yet, which I'm a little bit surprised about, but it is still a month or two until we actually pick them. So they might pop up. But also the size is just a little bit smaller than I was expecting for this, I guess you'd say the above ground growth to be at this point, which is a small signal to how the actual bulbing is going. So we'll see how they go. They do tend to bulb out a little bit more during their final period before we pick them in November, and we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for this end of the garden. A little bit of bok choy that I left in to flower and gives the bees something else to enjoy there. But that's pretty much it. So I hope you've enjoyed this little walk around, and we'll see you next time.